We're not quite done with the Glutton demon, still have to work on the base, and we're going to make it slightly fancy and try to fit it in with the theme of our big ugly demon. So we have our 130mm base glued down, and the first thing we're going to put down is some rocks. And for rocks, we are actually using bark. You can normally find this at like Home Depot stores. You get big bags of them for like $5, or if you're like me, you look on the ground and pick up a few that have fallen out of the bag. Odd thing was, I'm running really low, and I went to Home Depot to get a few more, and there's not a Home Depot within 50 miles of me that has bark anymore. So I don't know if it's seasonal or what the deal is. I wouldn't be surprised if bark has now been made legal in the state of California, but hopefully you'll have a bit more luck than I did picking some up. Before gluing down the bark, I do wash it and let it dry to get off any dirt and little loose bits. And now I'm sealing it. I'm just using a mixture of water with white glue to seal any loose bits down and to make sure it doesn't absorb too much paint or moisture and start to split. Next thing to do is to fill in any gaps between the rocks using some spackle, and we just smear it on. You can bury some of your bark rocks, actually makes it look a bit more realistic if they're coming out of the ground. Also, I'll put some on the rock that's part of the model itself to help blend it into the base. And the important thing here is the spackle I'm using is a high performance spackle. You may find it under different names, extra strength or super spackle. I know the stuff that I use has at least gone through a rebranding. I found it in the discount clearance section last time I had to get some. But you don't want to use the cheap stuff because that tends to crack. And the high performance stuff, you can put it on really thick and it will not crack. After smoothing the spackle down with a wet finger or wet brush, it's now time to add some wood effects. And I have this box of these, I don't know if you call them roots or branches, but fortunately I find them right outside my local Home Depot where I should be able to get bark. But it's a little spiky bush and it has these very interesting looking, like I said, roots that go above the ground. That's why I'm not sure if they're branches or not, but you can find anything. Roots actually tend to look more like branches in scale, but any sort of dry wood bits work very well for this. I'm applying these while the spackle has hardened up a little bit because I didn't know exactly where to put them until I got the rocks in place. And I'm just pressing them into the spackle and then working the spackle around a bit to blend them in. Now the spackle doesn't have a real good adhesion properties to it, so once this is dry I'm going to test these branches, and some might be loose and I may need to go back and re-glue them so they're a bit more secure. Next we apply the cement for the gravel, and I'm actually not using glue here. What I'm using is acrylic gel medium in place of glue. And I prefer this over white glue because it's a bit more, it's less viscous, it's thicker, it tends to go wherever you place it, unlike white glue that's a bit more runny. Also, you can scrape it off without having the whole thing come with it. If you ever try to take off a little bit of white glue, it really stretches and kind of just comes off in one big sheet. But the acrylic gel here, you can like kind of cut off if needed. Once we have this in place, we just start sprinkling our various grits. I'm doing this in sections so the acrylic gel does not dry, but it's a mix of Gale Force 9, different size rocks, and also Games Workshop sand. After it's dry, we brush off all the excess, and then we could begin with the paint. Now, normally you would do this before actually priming the figure, so you would have the primer down to help the gravel adhere a little bit more and give you a slight protective barrier. I was able to do a little bit of airbrushed primer because the base is so large, and also thankfully I managed to get this first layer of paint down mostly with an airbrush as well for the same reasons. We are using Camo Black Brown from Vallejo Model Color, very dark brown because I do want a wet base for this very moist oozing creature. For ground color, we just have to dry brush on 2 or 3 different colors, and for most projects I would just say dry brush a medium brown, then dry brush a lighter brown, and then you maybe even dry brush a very light brown. You can vary it depending on exactly what colors you want, but that's the basic principle. For this one, I'm going with more colors that have a little bit of green in them to go with the diseased theme of the Glutton demon. Also, because I had a little bit of green in the monster himself, but I didn't get as much as I initially planned, I wanted to carry some of that through onto the base instead. On to the rocks, which we're going to give a little bit of a gray color, but we still want to keep with our green theme. Also, I am purposely using brown violet in with our gray because that's the same color that I used on the base, and I want to carry over that dirt color into the rocks because you don't have clean rocks in the wild. You don't have brown dirt and then perfectly clean gray rock sitting on top of it. That dirt's going to get into the rock, and so it's, for realism's sake, it's really good idea to try to carry that color over. You may be able to notice that I'm using a really torn up brush to highlight all these rocks, and doing that mainly because I don't want to use my really nice brushes on the bark because it'll ruin them, but also using a kind of a haphazard bristled brush really helps to add that a little bit more variety to the rocks, so they're not nice clean edged rock. There's variations, there's discoloration, so it's actually a benefit in this case to use a really bad brush. To paint the wood on the ground, we have to keep in mind the environment that the base is within. I want a moist base, so we're going to go with dark rotted wood as opposed to a more arid climate where the wood might be more gray and dried out. To darken up the base a bit more to show more moisture, using a mix of military green and black in a fairly heavy, thick wash, trying to put it around any recessed areas of the base and also areas where water would collect. So around the logs, around the rocks, just wherever else I wanted a little bit of color as well. At this point, we've flat varnished the model and sealed everything, and we're going to add some greenery, or deadery in this case, for most of this stuff. First thing I'm putting down is, this is a really old product. It's from Hudson and Allen, who I'm pretty sure are not around anymore. I could be wrong. But it's supposed to be ivy, and I use it on occasion for doing roots, that are just random scraggly branches, very small ones. But it's not a great product. I wouldn't go hunt it out. I'm pretty sure it's just a dyed scouring pad of some sort. But decided to use it here because I gotta use this stuff up. I've had it like 20 years. So the mixture we're using for this and the ivy as well, I have a mixture of white glue, water, and matte varnish. And we're just dunking it in and sticking it onto the base. The matte varnish is to take out the sheen from the white glue. Next comes our leaf litter, and we're creating basically a slurry of our previous white glue varnish water mixture, and I'm just adding the leaf litter into that and making a literal slurry, a clumping of leaf litter, because applying leaf litter is a bit annoying. The best way to do it would be to apply each leaf individually, but the main problem I have with leaf litter is it's very, very delicate, and it will break off on any gaming miniature. You touch it and it snaps off, but mixing it together with the white glue like this helps it to adhere better, and also kind of protects it and makes it slightly more flexible and less likely to get damaged. So that's especially very important on a gaming miniature. Last thing we're going to do is finish off with some grass, and for that we're using Warlord Games grass tufts. And I gotta say, I really like this stuff. I tried one of them and then I went out and bought like the whole range, because this works different than most grass tufts. They're huge, big bushes, which seem kind of useless, but actually they use a very minimum amount of glue on the tufts, and so they're extremely easy to pull apart and to make more realistic, irregular shapes with them. Then we can glue it down using some of our acrylic gel medium. I would normally use super glue for this because, once again, other grass tufts tend to have a very thick glue base to them, and they're very difficult to get flat on a rough surface, but the glue layer on these is so thin, we can actually just use the matte medium and it's enough adhesion. The Warlord Game grass tufts are fairly tall, so putting them on a small 35mm miniature may be a bit too much. So once it's dry, you can go back and trim it down using some cuticle scissors, and that'll actually give you a more realistic grass look, so it's not at a uniform height. Not really necessary on this big guy, and we have a very large surface area for the base, but I just want to mention that to you for when you're doing this on smaller figures. And there is our finished base for our Glutton demon. Fairly easy, wouldn't you say? I'm sure everyone out there can do this. We just slap on some paint because it's natural rock and dirt. You know, we don't have to be too precise and perfect with our brush strokes. And then it's just a matter of dry brushing and gluing on a lot of random bits. So fairly easy to do. If you want to see this whole project, check the link below for the full paint video on the Glutton demon himself. And thanks for watching. See you next time.
Good night, Mother.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Hardcastle.
Good night, McCormick.
Good night, Chief.
Good night, MacLeod.